welcome Hugh Jackman.
Hey, man.
Not at all. How are you? Welcome to the show, sir.
This, it feels very genteel to me. I was on Monday Night Raw last night, so everything is feeling just a little tame to me.
How was that?
It was fantastic, man. It was awesome.
It's crazy. Who's a tougher crowd, a wrestling crowd or a Broadway crowd?
Wrestling crowd.
Yeah, but very tough.
Yeah, I was doing my thing, and there was one guy, and by the way, I've been in that crowd at age 18. I was one of those guys. There's one guy, I could just... Oh, good, I can swear on the show, right? Yeah. Your movies suck, Jackman. It was behind me, and I turned around. He's like, hey, buddy, how are you, man?
Are you at all intimidated when you want to walk into that fire pit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of people don't realise, everyone assumes it's just all fake, it's all theatre. What you don't realise is they really hit.
Yeah.
No, they really hit, because part of the shtick from last night was that I was going to get revved up by this guy, and then I would end up hitting the guy. And so in rehearsals, I'd try to hit him. Now, for 20 years, I've been pulling punches as an actor. You pride yourself on not hitting, right? Right. So finally, he said, he goes, man, will you stop hitting me like a girl? Will you just start hitting me? You're like an actor. I said, yeah. And so on the day, he just said, you hit me, man. You hit me as hard as you can. And I kind of did. Really? And then he thanked me afterwards. It's a very weird world.
But when
it's very strange.
The guy said you hit me like a girl, did you feel emasculated? You're like, don't say that to me. Did you get pissed off?
No, he was absolutely right. I'm an actor. Like, if you hit me, I cry. It's the real world.
Hey, you know, despite the fact that this is a movie about robots punching each other, unlike a lot of the action kind of films, there's a deeper Bond story building in this one, I've noticed. The father-son thing is really neat. The guy who's kind of broken down as well. Is that why you bought into it?
Yeah. Basically, I heard the pitch for the movie and I thought, oh, well, this sounds cool, but it's probably not for me. And then as I started reading it, I was like, hang on a second, this is Rocky. This is kind of more Rocky than it is Transformers. This is a real underdog, rousing, get out of your seat kind of sports drama. I love those movies growing up. Even the ones the critics didn't like, I watched them over and over again.
Why did you think it wasn't for you?
Because I didn't particularly think, I didn't want to do just a special effects movie. I don't particularly like them. I mean, I can go, wow, it's great special effects, but unless I'm invested, and look, the first film I did that got any notoriety was X-Men, which is a big special effects movie, but that's got great characters in it. So why would you go from that down to something which was special effects but without much character? But this kind of was a movie that I'd wanted to do, and in a way, without realising it, I'd been building up to do. You know, it's a complex character, a fairly simple story in a way, this father and son, but that kind of movie that just gets you cheering and believing that anything's possible.
Your director, the kid who plays your son, your love interest, and the guy who kicks your ass are all Canadians in this film.
Exactly.
There's a lot that happened there. Could you relate? Could you guys relate?
It's what we call a Commonwealth film.
Yes,
This is the new Hollywood. The new Hollywood. Unless you're in the Commonwealth, forget it.
You're not getting in this particular picture.
Because let's face it, we'll do it for less money. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We actually had Ewan McGregor on the show, and he talked about how the business has changed. Yeah. Like the idea that, you're doing it for less these days. Maybe you're not.
Ewan needs a new agent. No, look, here's the thing. It has... things are changing all the time, but the one thing I always think about and never take for granted is here's Hollywood, this is America, and you have people from all over the world coming in and playing Americans. Yeah. I mean, there's like 180,000 Australians there working, there's people from all over the world, and they don't mind. I mean, I always tip my hat to that, because I try and imagine, say, 3,000 American actors coming down trying to play Crocodile Dundee and being laughed out of the country. Right. You know, I don't think it would happen. So it's kind of I always try to remember that and remember how kind of lucky we are, really.
If they got Crocodile Dundee, is he still away? I know he's gotten into some trouble. Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's okay.
Is he okay?
Yes.
I was thinking about you because I was thinking between Gibson and also Russell Crowe and Crocodile Dundee, even though Kiwi in there, you have to keep it clean. You're like the only one who's not getting into trouble.
I do it. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, right? And all my older brother, particularly the next brother up, was in trouble every 5 seconds. He kept getting kicked out of schools, the whole thing. And I was just young enough to go, hang on a sec, I can do everything they're doing without anybody noticing. So that's pretty much what I've carried on through to my private life.
What's the family
adult life?
Your whole, What's the family dynamic like when one of the brothers is always in trouble?
It's, for me, fantastic. It's just that it's great. You know, in any given situation, I go, Dad, Ralph, what have you done? You know, that's all I had to do. And he's like, what, are you kidding me? he just shoved something in my eye. And I go, Dad, really, it was Ralph. I don't know what, he's really lost it. And Dad was like, yeah, I know, Hugh, it's okay.
In later years, did Ralph exact revenge?
Yes. Well, no, it was perfect because my brother was older than me and basically beat the crap out of me my whole life until I became taller than him, and I didn't kind of twig. I was like, wow, Ralph's being really nice to me all of a sudden. Like, it took me about 3 years to realise it was because I was 1.5 feet taller than him, you know.
Much is made about you sort of figured your way out through this actor game. You have your serenity moment and you found some kind of spiritual peace. Is that, I never know, I don't believe everything I read, but is that true? Have you figured your way through this?
Oh, I thought you were generalising about actors. I was like, wow.
I mean you specifically.
I think I started acting to try and work myself out. I don't think I ever thought about becoming an actor. I stumbled into an acting class, and I remember thinking, hey, everyone should do this. This is kind of the breathing, the learning to just let go of yourself, have fun, learning to trust your instincts and not be afraid of what other people think about that. These are tools for life. I probably thought that was going to be the end of it. It's like a good self-help class, you know. And I was probably 26 before I got my first job. So it took me a while. I was a slow learner. But serenity, yeah, kind of, in a way, when I'm on stage, it's probably the most calm I feel. So I can think of moments on stage where I feel calmer than I do just relaxing on a Sunday morning. It's sort of a bizarre thing, but...
It's an odd headspace to be in where you need that sort of outside adrenaline to find your inner calm.
Yes, and 2,000 people clapping you. It's not weird at all, really. I always remember that quote from Bono. He said, you know, look, you've got it together, you do human. He goes, hang on a sec. Apparently I need 70,000 people to uniformly yell out they love me at once to feel okay about myself, you know. And he's kind of right. I mean, who knows? I mean, we could be, literally, George, we could be here for 7.5 days.
Well, listen, if you didn't have to get out here, we could do it.
Are you guys okay?
We could absolutely do that.
Yeah.
But I find
we have entertainment. We have some song. It was off camera to viewers, off camera. We just had a beautiful song from one of our members of the audience here. Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah, well, look, you love to sing. You're actually like the triple threat. Do you fancy yourself as a modern-day Sammy Davis Jr.? The singing, the dancing, the acting?
I always think acting first for me, even when I'm dancing or singing, unless I kind of invent some form of disguise for myself, I feel very naked. But it is, it started again. The triple threat was not about, I want to conquer the world with Sammy Davis Jr. It was trying to stave off unemployment. I mean, honestly, in Australia, there's probably 11 films made a year. So there's no concept of, I'm going to be a movie star. Okay, so, because if you're in one movie a year, you're in 1/10 of the movies made. Like, you're already greedy, okay? So you can't make a living as a movie star. You have to do that. And honestly, this is the one show that probably does have footage of me hosting a fashion show. Just to make my rent. Like, I was the layman, there was the expert, and I was like, really? What is a hemline? You know, that was... Thank God YouTube wasn't around when I was doing in fashion. But anyway, you basically have to do everything.
And I wonder if how long did it take you before you found confidence in what you were doing? Because when you start piecemealing jobs together, right, you're not really sure of what your voice is yet.
That's a really, really good question. I want to say recently, like the last 2 or 3 years. This film, for me, and I have to really tip my hat to Sean Levy because we became great friends, but I started in theatre. I think it's fair to say it took me a long time to feel at home on a soundstage as I did on a theatre. Yeah. And Sean helped me get there. Sean is one of those guys who, he really knows how to direct actors. And when I say that, it's one thing to get a performance out of an actor, it's another thing to leave that actor feeling better for every movie they do. And that's what Sean did. So I think with help from people like him, probably by finally realising I'm 42 and, you know, it's time to get over yourself, I'm starting to feel that confidence now.
It's an interesting place to be as a man.
What about you?
Me? I think I started to feel about 1.5 years ago.
Right?
Yeah, well, it's when I stopped caring. Right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And as much as anyone people will say to you on set or when you start off, like, man, don't be nervous. If you're nervous, man, the camera, it's going to be bad. Don't be nervous, just relax. And actually there's a scene in our film, Real Steel, that Sean kind of made up. And I totally related to it. It's that idea that when the things most matter, you so desperately don't want to destroy it for being scared that you can really destroy it.
Sure.
When I hosted the Oscars, I was like, wow, man, this is 1 billion people. And I just thought, okay, whatever you do, just remember, you're a kid from Mooroonga in Sydney. You're hosting the Oscars, have some fun, you know. And luckily for me, those turning points, I've somehow always stuck to that idea of just having fun.
Well, there's more to it with you. I mean, Australia and Canada have a very similar reality in our relationship with Aboriginal people and trying to understand how to make everything work and deal with years of... I mean, you've worked in communities, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Well, tell me about that.
When I was at university, a mate of mine said, oh, look, there's a job going out in the outback. Do you want to come out? We're going to build some houses and we'll be out for a couple of months. And I was nursing a broken heart at the time. So, oh, yeah, let's go. And so I went out there, and day after day, week after week, there's a magical effect that the landscape has and that the people, the Aboriginal people, have. And I was very sheltered. I didn't realise it, but I really had not been outside of Sydney much. So to be out there and live there, and then for a while, then I was offered a job at another community where I was the only white fella out there. There was nobody else. And for 1 month, I lived out there. And honestly, if it wasn't for my dad, I'd still be out there. I rang my dad and I was like, Dad, day after day, I feel happier and happier. I feel more content. I feel everything's right with the world. The things that mattered to me, what job I'm doing, whatever it is, it does not matter anymore. I've got great friends. I think I'm going to live out here forever. And he's like, great, love the idea. How about you come back and finish college and see how you go? And that's why I came back. And it really was where I think I grew up. It's when I first started to contemplate who I was. I wasn't just reacting to things that happened in life. I was like, okay, who am I? What do I want to do in this world? What do I want to say? But
you also start to get a sense of what happens politically and how our governments have crushed First Nations people for many years. Did it anger you in that way?
Absolutely, it angered me. It angered me on two fronts. First of all, it angered me the way the media had portrayed the Aboriginal people, because my experience of living with them was not envious, but I was inspired. I was inspired by the family, I was inspired by the community, I was inspired by their culture, their togetherness. I'd only seen images of problems, you know, whether it was drinking, whether it was poverty, whether it was health issues. That's all I knew about the Aboriginal people. Yeah. And I wanted to go back and say, hang on a sec, forget those images. You need to go out there and we need to learn from the Aboriginal people. That, and also I went to a school where I had no idea about the stolen generation. I didn't even know that happened. So I'm not that old. I mean, I left school 20, 25 years ago. How can you go through an entire education without learning what really happened? And that's what angered me.
Stick around. More with Hugh Jackman, including his worst nickname, Anthropology. So here comes some Anthropology. What would a Broadway musical about your life be called?
Doesn't know how to say no.
Have your kids ever seen a movie of yours and not liked it?
No, because they've only seen two. I handpick them.
You won't let them see some of them?
No, Real Steel was the first live action. The other one was flushed away. Sorry, this is quick answer.
No, that's all I can see.
Let's go. Sorry.
Where's the worst place you've put your Wolverine claws? Answer carefully.
In my hand luggage going on a plane.
You did not?
Yes, and the guy had no idea about X-Men. He goes, what's with the knives, man? I said, knives. I have no knives. He goes, there are 6 knives. Oh, no, they're my claws, man.
They're my claws. So what happened?
Should have seen that strip search, yeah.
That's a pretty great idea. Did you ever actually, you turn down Neighbours?
Yes.
Why would an Aussie in his right mind turn down Neighbours?
Yeah, good point. Because I was offered at the same time a spot in a drama school that I always wanted to go to. So it was, will I be educated or will I go for the most popular kind of soap opera in Australia? And I went for the education. God, stupid.
Well, listen, it clearly didn't work out for you. It clearly didn't. So,
but that was, going back to your point, that was about confidence. Because I asked myself, after doing a year of Neighbours, would I feel like I could turn up an audition for the Royal Shakespeare Company, right? And I thought, no, I'll learn things on Neighbours, but I won't feel that. And because I just always thought, if you're an actor, you should feel like you should get the job. You know, there's another 100 guys who think they should get the job, but if you don't believe it in your heart, then you're never going to get it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and study.
Worst nickname growing up?
V.
V?
Yeah.
Why do they call you V?
Do you remember the TV show V?
Hell yeah, Michael Ironside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these aliens had this V. So at a very tender age of 14 and a half, I had acne in the shape of a V. Right as that show was peaking, The show probably lasted 6 months. The nickname lasted about 6 years.
Fantastic. Do you go back every now and then and going, hi, I'm Wolverine. Hi, I'm in Real Steel. Hi, I'm in Australia.
Absolutely.
Nice. Real Steel is the name of the film. It's in theaters October the 7th. Hugh Jackman, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.